Welcome back to the channel. So, what do we have on the agenda for today? Well, today I'm going to be talking about my all-time greatest team. Stylo HD, greatest team of all time. My first 11. That's what I'm going to be talking. My first 11 and my second 11. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. But before I get into all that, let me just remind you to subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you're feeling generous, please hit that like button as well. I do appreciate your support. Thank you very much. All right, so before I jump into my starting 11 and first 11 and my second 11 teams of all time, let me just touch on some Women World Cup developments. So yesterday I watched two games yesterday. The France-Brazil game and the Jamaica-Panama game. And I'm telling you, those two games were absolutely mouth-watering. They were great games. France, of course, ended up beating Brazil 2-1, and Jamaica in the subsequent game beat Panama 1-0. So that sets up a great finale, the third and final game of the group stage for Group F. I believe these four teams are Group F. And that sets up a final two great games. Now for Brazil is in a dogfight. And who would ever thought that Brazil would be in a dogfight against Jamaica? Now, I'm not belittling Jamaica. I'm just saying Brazil is a powerhouse, right? Who would ever expect that Jamaica would be in a dogfight against Brazil? But here we are. Now, as for Brazil, they need a win against Jamaica, and Jamaica just needs a draw. Jamaica gets a draw, and they are through to the knockout stage. Brazil, they have to win. Now, if the game between Brazil and Jamaica is a draw, Brazil could still go through to the next round depending on the outcome of the other game between Panama and France. Yes, depending on that score. So there's still a chance for Brazil to make it to the next round. Now, I'm rooting for Jamaica against Brazil. Now, in this case, Brazil-Jamaica, I have to go with Jamaica, my first choice, my home country. So, I have to go with them. And of course, I'm a huge Brazil fan. So, this is a pull and tug, but I'm going to have to stick with the Reggae Girls on this one. But all the best to Brazil. So with that in mind, let's move on to as promised, let's move on to my all-time starting 11. My first 11, my all-time first 11. In goal, I have Ederson of Brazil. Left back, number 6, Paolo Maldini. Actually, let me just before I continue, let me put up the graphic so you can take a look at it yourself. Okay, so there's the graphic. My all-time first 11. And let me just start over. Number 1, Ederson. Brazil. Number 6, number 1, Ederson, goalkeeper, Brazil. Number 6, left fullback, Paolo Maldini, Italy. Number 3, central defender, Julio Cesar, Brazil. Number 4, central defender, Franz Beckenbauer, Germany. Number 2, Cafu, Brazil, right fullback. Number 5, defensive midfield, Franco Baresi, Italy. Number 8, Toni Kroos, defensive midfield, Germany. Number 7, left wing, Romario, Brazil. Number 11, right wing, Diego Maradona, Argentina. Number 9, striker, Ronaldo, R9, Brazil. And last but not least, the greatest of them all, number 10, Pelé, Brazil. So that is my my starting 11. What do you think? Any objections? I know that some of the selection, a couple of the selection on my starting 11, you might think is out of place, but I'm standing firm with these guys. Now let me just talk about why I selected these guys to be on my first 11 of all time. Now, Ederson is, in my view, the greatest all-around goalkeeper. My number 1, greatest all-around goalkeeper of all time. Paolo Maldini. Paolo Maldini was a toss-up with Roberto Carlos. Now, I went with Paolo Maldini because he's a pure defender, and that's the only reason. I mean, between he and Roberto Carlos, you know, they both have their strengths. Roberto Carlos is a wing back. He goes up and down that pitch, and that's his strength. Great defender, but not to the level, just slightly not to the level of Maldini. Just slightly, though. Central defender, Julius Caesar. Now, for those of you who remember Julius Caesar, this guy is just coolness personified. Coolness personified. Julius Caesar of Brazil. You could have guys going left and right at Julius Caesar in the box, and he does not panic. He just finds a way to either dribble his way out or pass his way out. That is Julius Caesar. Coolness personified, this guy. And that's why I decided to go with Julius Caesar. Central defender, Franz the Kaiser Beckenbauer. One of the most dynamic players of all time. To me, the greatest defender of all time. Now, some will say Franco Baresi, but I won't push back. I'm not going to push back on that one because, to me, those two guys are interchangeable. But I'm going to give the edge to the Kaiser, Franz Beckenbauer. Right fullback, Cafu. Not much need to be said about Cafu. Cafu, the greatest right back of all time, one of the greatest defenders of all time. So not much need to be said about him. Defensive midfielder, I have Franco Baresi. Now I chose Franco Baresi in this position as opposed to a central defender. I put him in that position because he's a stopper. Franco Baresi is a stopper, one of the greatest defenders of all time, if not the greatest of all time. But he's a great stopper, and he can play that midfield role. He's not going to drift, because I have another guy that's going to do that work for him. He's going to stay put and just prevent anything from going through to the back four. And that's my choice, Franco Baresi. Now his partner is Toni Kroos of Germany. Now this is where I think some of you will push back and say, Toni Kroos. Now listen to what I have to tell you about this guy. Toni Kroos is an outstanding passer. Toni Kroos pass completion average is in the 90 percentile. 95, 96, up there. Right throughout his career for Real Madrid and for Germany. Toni Kroos. He's a great dribbler, great passer, creative, also very creative. Kind of weak on the defensive side, but Franco Baresi will help him out there. But Toni Kroos is my box-to-box midfielder, defensive midfielder. That's Toni Kroos. Now let's move on to the attacking side. On the left wing, I chose Romario for obvious reasons. One of the greatest attackers of all time, greatest goal scorers of all time. Very skillful, very intelligent when it comes to positioning. That's Romario. On the right flank, I have the Prince of Football, the man himself, Diego Maradona. Now I don't need to tell you why. I don't need to qualify why I chose Diego Maradona. That speaks for itself. My striker is Ronaldo, the real and original Ronaldo, R9. Now we all know about his exploits from PSV to Barcelona to Real Madrid. Did I just say Real Madrid? AC Milan, Corinthians, and of course his first team in Brazil was Cruzeiro. We all know about his exploits. You've seen the documentaries on him, and that's my choice for striker, R9, Ronaldo Phenomenal. Now my number 10, the best for last, the greatest of them all, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, simply known as Pelé, El Rey Pelé. He's going to be my schemer, my number 10. And there you have it, people, my first 11 of all time. What do you think? I'm waiting for your pushback. I'm waiting. I've been very disappointed with you guys. I haven't seen a whole lot of comments on my channel on previous videos, but I'm hoping this is going to be my breakout. I need to see some comments. I need to see some pushback. I need to see some agreements. If you agree with my selections, if you don't agree with my selections, and so on. Whatever you have in your mind, I want to hear it. I want to see some comments. Guys, I want to see some comments. So yeah, so those are my selections for my all-time first 11. Now let's get into my all-time second 11. Let me just put up before I go, let me just give you one more glance of my first team. One more glance at the first team, so you just don't forget. All right. I'm going to now put up my second 11. Now here's my second 11. In goal, number 1, Gianni Luigi Buffon, affectionately known as Gigi Buffon. Number 6, Roberto Carlos, Brazil. And of course, Gigi Buffon is Italy. Number 6, Roberto Carlos, Brazil. And his position is left fullback, of course. Central defender, number 3, Fernando Hierro, Spain. Number 4, Alessandro Nesta, central defender, Italy. Number 2, right fullback, Javier Zanetti, Argentina. Defensive midfield, number 5, Falcao, Brazil. Defensive midfielder, number 6, Frank Rijkaard, Netherlands. And of course, let me just explain to you what my formation is. It is 4-2-3-1. Same, and it's also the same for my first 11. Now let's move on to the attackers. On the right wing, I have number 7, Ronaldinho, Brazil. On the right flank, right wing, Johan Cruyff, or Johan Cruyff, number 11, Netherlands. Number 9, George Weah, Liberia, and that's my striker. And the last but not least, number 10, Socrates, Brazil. Now Socrates is going to be the schemer in this second 11. So there you have it. There you have it. My second 11. What do you think, guys? Any disagreements? Any player out of place? Players that you like? What do you agree with? Anything? I need to see your comments. Need to see those comments, guys. All right. But before I go, I wanna touch a little bit about the Women's World Cup. Before I sign off, I would just want to touch a little bit on the Women's World Cup. Now, as you can tell, things are hotting up. Final group stage games are around the corner. Now, I watched a couple of games yesterday, and I'm telling you, I was not disappointed. Brazil, France, Jamaica, Panama. Now, the first game, Brazil, France, that was a nail biter. That game had you on the edge of your seats. Right? Two great teams just going at it. But the French prevailed at the end. I thought that Brazil could not handle the speed and the pressure. I mean, they pressured Brazil from the get-go, and they did not let up. They just kept going. Brazil, I thought Brazil had a tough time with the pressure. Brazil kept turning over the ball, losing possession, and I thought that was the Achilles heel for Brazil. Now Brazil is in a tough position for the third and final game against Jamaica. Now, who would have thought? And I believe I covered this in the first part of this video. But who would have thought that Brazil would have been in a tough dogfight against Jamaica. Now, I'm not disrespecting Jamaica, my home country. I'm not disrespecting Jamaica. I'm just saying Brazil is a powerhouse. So I never thought that Brazil would be in a dogfight to stay in the tournament, let alone playing against Jamaica. That's. I mean, I'm just kind of repeating, going over this again, just because I'm just blown away that Brazil is having a tough time and definitely need a win. Brazil need a win against Jamaica. All Jamaica just needs a draw, a tie, and they will be on to the knockout stage. Brazil, in this case, will be. Although, if there's a draw, Brazil could still go through, providing the outcome between France and Panama. Right. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I suspect that Jamaica already have 2 clean sheets. I think they're going to be, and they're playing very disciplined football. So let's see what happens. So anyway, guys, that's it for this edition. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me and smash that like button. I do appreciate your support. So that's it for now, guys. Until next time, take care. You've just watched my all-time first 11 and my second 11. Now, since the completion of this recording, I've had a rethink. Now, the rethink is on my second 11, not my first 11. My first 11 remains intact, but on the second 11, I've had a rethink on a couple of positions, just a couple of positions, and I just want to share that with you. Now, before I get into the changes on the second 11, let me just do a recap of my first 11. Let me just bring up my graphic here for you. All right, so here's my first 11. I'm just going to do a recap as to my selections. Goalkeeper, number 1, Ederson, Brazil. Left fullback, number 6, Paolo Maldini, Italy. Right fullback, number 2, Cafu, Brazil. Central defender, number 3, Julius Caesar. Central defender, number 4, Franz Beckenbauer, Germany. And of course, Julius Caesar is Brazil. Defensive midfield, number 5, Franco Baresi, Italy. Defensive midfield, number 8, Toni Kroos, Germany. Left wing, number 7, Romario, Brazil. Right wing, number 11, Diego Maradona, Argentina. Striker, number 9, Ronaldo, R9, Brazil. Number 10, Pelé, Brazil. And of course, you know that number 10 is my schemer position, my creative midfielder. So there you have it. That's a recap of my first 11 of all time. Now let me switch over to the second 11 and the couple of changes that I've made. did a real soul searching and a rethink of my second 11 and in a couple of positions. So let's go over that with you. Let me bring up my my second 11. There's my second 11. And I'm gonna recap with you, and I'll just highlight the changes once I get to it, if you haven't already noticed. Goalkeeper, number 1, Gigi Buffon, Italy. Left fullback, number 6, Roberto Carlos, Brazil. Right fullback, and that's the change that I've made. I've made that change from Javier Zanetti to Lilian Thuram of France. So that's the first change that I've made. So that's right fullback number 2, Lilian Thuram of France. Defensive midfield, number 5, Falcao, Brazil. Defensive midfield, number 8, Frank Rijkaard, Netherlands. Left wing, number 7, Ronaldinho Gaúcho, Brazil. Right wing, number 11, Johan Cruyff, Netherlands. Striker, number 9, George Weah, Liberia. And the change that I've made from Socrates to Zinedine Zidane, number 10. That's the other change that I've made. And I had to think long and hard about I had to seriously think about that change, because Socrates was just the maestro. It was really a difficult change to make, and the reason why I made that change is to highlight the success of Zinedine Zidane with the French national team. You know, the fact that he won a World Cup, and his accomplishments throughout the years, throughout his career, I should say. So I had to tip the balance to Zinedine Zidane, and like I said, it was a difficult change to make, but I felt it was a good one, a well-deserved one. All right, so there you have it. My first 11 of all time and my second 11 of all time, and I'm still pushing you guys to let me know what you think about both teams, and if you know what you think. So that's it. That's it for the changes. And again, I just want to remind you guys to don't forget to subscribe. And one special note: subscribing to my channel is a free thing. You don't have to fill out a form. You don't have to. We don't do a background check. It's nothing like that. It's just one touch of that button right there. See where it says subscribe? Just put your mouse up there and press it. That's it. And you're done. And, you know, I know that you guys are feeling generous as always. So go ahead and smash that like button as well. All right? I know I've asked a lot of you, but these are easy things. It's just a couple of buttons that you need to press. But anyway, so that's it for my update. So this is it, guys. So until next time, take care.